for all of those. But we move on now and we start looking to trade as the European Union is closing in on a deal with the United States to impose a flat 15% tariff on EU exports, a move aimed at avoiding a sharper 30% duty threatened by President Trump starting on August the 1st. According to 2 EU diplomats, the deal could apply to key sectors including cars and pharmaceuticals, mirroring a recent agreement Washington struck with Japan. While some industries like aircraft, agriculture and lumber may be exempt, the US is expected to keep its existing 50% tariff on steel. Reportedly, the EU could agree to these reciprocal levies to defuse the escalating trade standoff. But officials say the 27-nation bloc is still preparing a backup package of retaliatory tariffs worth €93 billion that could be triggered if these talks fail before August the 1st. Well, joining me live from the newsroom, Asuma Kotoka, anchor and correspondent with NewsX World, to discuss this further. Asuma, thank you for joining us. What more can you tell us about this situation that, of course, it is becoming more pertinent given the fact that that August the 1st deadline is around a week away?
Yes, so EU has shown some hope that they are about to reach, according to 3 people who were involved in these talks and who are supposedly who have the information. They've told Financial Times that the EU is closer to reaching a deal with the US, and also Chancellor Merz yesterday, while welcoming French President Emmanuel Macron to Germany, said that he welcomes this trade deal if it were to take effect before August 1st. So, however, the 15% is still much more compared to the earlier tariffs that were in place before US President Donald Trump took office, which was 4.8%. So if you compare it to 4.8%, of course, this is still 15% is still big. But if you compare it to the 30%, which was threatened by US, it is a good deal. And also Japan reached to a tariff yesterday, which is 15%. So this trade, and it kind of mirrors the trade that has been the trade tariff that has been decided between Japan and Japan and US. We will still be watching as the confirmation is yet to come.
Yes, absolutely. And it's important to note as well that, of course, there are some rates on individual goods that are higher than this proposed 15% that would still stay in place. That includes steel. Asuma, before we let you go, of course, you mentioned some other deals that are ongoing. This deadline of August the 1st, though is firm, could see some movement. But can you talk broader, please, about overall trade and these US policies, and just provide some context on why this is so important and why it's been so destabilizing for global economics?
Well, it's very destabilizing and scary for consumers, especially people involved in businesses. Germany especially is involved in, highly involved in exporting cars, automobiles to US, and spirits as well, and also US importing or exporting bourbon to EU in very high amounts. So if the EU decides to go with countermeasures, which was speculated earlier by EU that they are ready and they have decided, except only one country, except media reports show that only one country, which was Hungary, that was disagreeing with the countermeasures to be put on US. So EU already has a very strong countermeasures, as reports show, and maybe because of that, US has maybe taken a step back in giving EU a better or 15% trade deal.
Asuma Kotoka, thank you ever so much for that insight. Of course, ahead of that August 1st deadline, we will be here bringing you all of the updates on potential trade deals struck between the US and their trading partners. But now we stay in North America, as US President Donald Trump will visit the Federal Reserve on Thursday. The White House has confirmed, marking a surprise move that ramps up pressure on Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Trump has repeatedly criticised Powell for not cutting interest rates more aggressively. Trump also has, on many instances, talked publicly about firing Powell. Trump, who nominated Powell during his first term, has since become a vocal critic, blaming him for not cutting interest rates fast enough. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that the administration would probably announce a new Fed chair nominee in December or January next year. He further added that the US could see 1 to 2 rate cuts this year.